What's going on, everybody? This is a impromptu in the middle of the week type of event, and I am so happy to have you with us today. I'll tell you that I am waiting on my guest, and hopefully Jesse will hop on. If not, we are definitely prepared to have this conversation. And really look at the total leadership fitness that you may have or you may not have. And you may be wondering what that total leadership fitness looks like. And we're talking about body, mind, spirit, and anything else that may be, active in your life, right? But those top three things, right? Your mind, your spirit, we're talking emotions, we're talking the physical body, and we are going to have this conversation. So hopefully Jesse will be on here shortly. But as we start, if you are joining us live, please allow us to be able to send our greetings. But join us in the comments. You can obviously type in any questions you'd like answered as we go through this episode of live, and we'll get into all of that stuff. Now, I don't know if everybody got word, but here recently I did connect in a partnership with my dear friend Dr. Z Miriam out of South Florida, and we are addressing this thing called total leadership because it is important to understand that you cannot execute leadership unless you are physically able to, right? And I have Jesse in the back, and I'm gonna bring him in now. Jesse, welcome to the show as we discuss total leadership fitness. And before we get into all the conversations that we'll have today, please let everybody know a little bit about you.
Hello, thank you for having me, my brother. I really appreciate this. This is an honor. Thank you. My name is Jesse. I'm the owner of Golden Army Fitness, which is based out of New York City. It's a holistic health and wellness company that focuses on mental health, physical fitness, nutrition and medicine, and meditation as well. I created my company in late 2020. It actually started because of COVID. Due to COVID, I had two other jobs, and plus I had another company before that, which was a clothing company called Woken Fly Clothing, where we made T-shirts with Black History characters and half faces. And so because of COVID, I lost my two other jobs. And so I was solely relying upon my clothing company, which was Woken Fly Clothing. So using that business, I started creating pop-up shops with my brother to help support other Black-owned businesses in Harlem. And so we had pop-up shops all throughout Harlem, and we actually extended that and went into Brooklyn. And so we had pop-up shops in Brooklyn as well. We had 420 friendly. We had edibles. We had different things talking about different modalities as far as wellness, meditation. We had music acts, different food companies, all Black-owned businesses in order to support each other because COVID, as we know, shut down all the businesses. And so we had to come together to give people a chance just to build themselves up. So fast forward later on in late 2020, I realized that, I wasn't really happy with what was going on. All the shootings in the neighborhood, the police shootings and the COVID restrictions, it really pissed me off and made me depressed. And I was talking to my brother on the phone. I said, what can I do? What can I do to be more of service? How can I help people? I was just really adamant and just mad about it. And he said, do what you know. I said, what is that? He said, fitness. I said, right, that makes sense. And so literally after that phone call, I went outside, I grabbed my cell phone, and I started jogging, and I did an Instagram live video talking about we need to get fit. We need to take care of our community, take care of your family, just yelling at the top of my lungs. And people saw that on the video and they said, yeah, I want to be a part of what you're doing. I want to join that movement. That's amazing. What can I do? How can I be a part of it? And so another thing was actually formed, which was called the Woke and Fly Runners. So it was a free community running group that had moms, had kids, and they bring their babies, had grandparents. And so in that particular running group, we ran in different parks throughout New York City. Like every Saturday at 11 o'clock, we would meet up and just run in Prospect Park, Central Park, and different things of that nature. And it was really fun. So I gave us a chance just to do different things and give people a chance to communicate and just come together. Now, fast forward into 2021, knowing that my running group was very successful, I was able to turn into something else later on. But I had a drawing for the new business I wanted to form, but I didn't have a name. So I was just laying there in my bed one day because I was taking actually psychedelic mushrooms, which I normally do from time to time because it really enhances the mind, enhances the experience. And so the word Golden Army Fitness came to my mind. And I was like, wow, this is a good idea. And so from that, I wrote down the name because I'm a graphic designer as well. I put the name with the logo, and that's how Golden Army Fitness was born. That was pretty much the springboard. Because of COVID, it actually transformed me to pretty much boss up and do things that were actually not just for myself, but for my community. And by doing things for my community, it pushed me forward to do things for myself to build up a health and wellness company so I can give back to the community and do more things like that. So that's pretty much my origin story.
That's amazing. And I think that COVID did allow a lot of people to catapult into their future. And it's not funny, but we say, oh, it's funny, right? It's funny to see something that caused so much damage and destruction.
Yes.
Also be the catapult for people's success, right?
It really was, yes.
And so amazing that you took that opportunity to reinvent yourself, especially during that time. There was a lot of reinvention going on. But we've seen 4 years later, right? This podcast, or what I do as a podcaster, started around the same time, right? So there's a lot that has changed and has been birthed through that period. And I'm glad that you took the opportunity to once again dive into the entrepreneurship route and start something. But what I love most about all of that is that you took an opportunity to impact community. Now, in leadership development, it's very well known. If you help people get what they want, people will help you get what you want, right? And we need community and all the things that we do, especially on entrepreneurship, because whether you're an entrepreneur or not at this junction in life, everyday life requires assistance from others. That person in China, hours ahead of me, that did not wake up to pack that package of something I was going to order here in a couple hours. If that doesn't happen, somebody is going to drop the ball, which will eventually affect me. So, we're connected in so many different ways, but I'm glad you chose to connect locally with the community. Somebody saw that video, got motivated and said, hey, or a couple of somebodies, right? And said, hey, we want to be part of that. We need that. And we're, as humans, we need that connection where we could feel part of something bigger than ourselves. At the same time, enhancing what, the good Lord gave us, right? This one body. We only get one, folks.
Right.
Unless you're like the $6 million man and you can get multiple parts. But that right now is not the case for me. And I have to take care of it holistically, right? You said holistic, and I want to focus on that now as we're talking total leadership fitness. I think I expressed to you that I had gotten into a partnership with a local doctor down here in South Florida, and we're partnering in this holistic approach to leadership. And so I want to get into these 4 areas that I will just encapsulate as wellness, physical, food, nutrition,
Yeah.
and soul, right?
Right.
These four elements of what, we are,
Yeah.
and how you are approaching those things through your business.
Mm.
So let's start with wellness.
Okay.
Wellness in here,
Hmm.
look, I'm going to tell you straight out, brother. The last 2 days
Yeah.
up here have been chaotic.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
been chaotic, and I'll tell it because I tell it.
Yeah.
There are things being decided in our country
Mm.
that are blowing my mind.
I'm like, I'm
Like,
telling you. Yeah. Yeah.
like, like, is this where I'm living actually?
Hmm.
To the point,
Hmm.
to the point where I am considering moving.
I understand. I
I'm
completely understand.
considering engaging and pulling out that blue passport and going somewhere. Yeah. So, and that's just one thing
Hmm.
out of so many things
Yeah.
that come at us at any given time. And so here, this wellness piece, right? This
Mhm.
wellness, this mindfulness,
Yeah.
this being able to live in a capacity where you're at ease with your thoughts, with your emotions.
Hmm.
So how do you address wellness in your practice? How do you address wellness for the day, the common day layman,
Yes. Yes.
living day to day?
Well, normally with wellness, it starts with a spiritual connection with self, and we need to think about our minds. If I'm just talking to someone who's never really connected with their mind on that level, because we're always having a connection through the mind, body, and soul, but we're not really present with it because we have busy 9 to 5 days, or for entrepreneurs, which is a 24/7 day. So I normally approach it in a matter of routine and understanding self. A lot of times we have a darker energy and a lighter energy. So we have two opposites, left and right. And usually we try to separate one from the other. But in reality, we're supposed to bring them both together. They're supposed to be synchronized and have a form of synergy, which create a stronger body and embodying a stronger power. And when we embody a stronger power, we become more brilliant and we amplify everything else about us. But in the world that we're living in today, we're taught to separate things and put them into different categories and different boxes and different places. But in reality, you need your dark side because that's the part that you really enjoy. So you just have to learn how to deal with that energy because the light side is right there to guide you, but the dark side also can keep you activated, keep you animated. It's like the left and the right brain. One is more critical and one is more creative. We have to always bring them in together. This is what you have to do. So we have to make sure that when we're focusing on the wellness, we have to focus on a routine, a health routine, which means starting at a certain time in the morning, which normally for myself, I get up around 5 in the morning and I sit mindfully thinking about my body, thinking about my mind, decluttering myself. If I'm decluttering myself, I'm separating all the anxiety before I start my day. And by separating the anxiety from starting my day, I'm able to adjust to the oncoming emotions, whether it be an email, a phone call from a family member, or a work deadline that I can't get a chance to do the day before. When you spend time in yourself, being centered and not living in the past emotions, because sometimes our past emotions can creep up when we're either at a lower state of thinking, which means we can be depressed, or even hungry. Sometimes we can be more susceptible to doing things that are necessarily against our well-being. So creating a normal routine as far as waking up at a certain time and sitting with your thoughts, not judging your thoughts, sitting with your thoughts, that helps you to create a stronger body and a stronger spirit. So that's just one way to start. Sit with your thoughts and sit inside of your mind and be present in the moment. Don't go too far into the future and don't go back to the past unless you're trying to use that as a way of understanding the emotions, because you are one body and one mind, but your mind can do so many things. So we're always trying to understand the mind because everything happens in the mind before it can actually be seen outside in the body.
I love that. I love that you mentioned one thing that I have been privy to,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah.
being with and not judging.
Yes.
And we live in a world where we're actually asked to judge, like all the
Yes.
time,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so it's hard to stray away from something that's so habitual.
Yeah.
But when you take that time, now, brother, I'll tell you, my 5 o'clock in the morning days are over. Right? I did that for a long
You did
time.
that. You already satisfied those needs. So it's time to move on to something else. On to
but
the next level.
but for those that still can and will, hey, 5 o'clock is available to anybody. But as you're mentioning the prepping for the day, early in the morning is usually not so cluttered, is usually not as busy,
Right.
uh, and it's usually a good opportunity to be alone, right? To
Needed.
be alone.
Hmm.
But you could be alone and your mind be all over the place.
Yes. There's another thing you could do. Yeah,
So as you're being alone, you talked about decluttering. That takes practice,
it does.
right? It takes practice.
Hmm.
I always suggest a journal or something where you could write all these things down.
Yes.
When I wake up in the morning, the very first thing I do is thank God.
Hmm.
Number one,
Yep.
thank you, because it could have been a different story right now, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
But right after that, whatever thought was current in my mind, especially if it has to do with an idea
Exactly.
or or a name to something or a thought that I can expound on, boom, I,
Mhm.
I write it down.
Yes.
If I don't have my pad next to me, I got my Bible, and my Bible's got all kind of notes in it.
Right. The
Because I
best way
like
to
to
put it.
capture it. I
Yep.
like to capture that. But when you're sitting alone
Hmm.
and you have these moments where folks just can't shut their mind off,
Hmm.
and so how do I get to that? How do I get to a point where I can quiet my mind enough to be with my
Okay.
thoughts, and
Okay.
not be so judging. Why are you thinking that? Or who, well, look, I remember this,
Yeah.
because I'll tell you, the last couple of days have been, I can do that pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the last couple of days just been like, okay, all right.
Right.
I feel like I have to do something.
Hmm. That's true. I think the best thing you can do is let the thoughts come out. Let your thoughts flow. The moment we try to fight what we're thinking, that's when the battle really happens. And now we're not in the moment anymore. We're battling the past, present, and the future. So we're separating ourselves from where we are. Let those thoughts flow. Let them happen. And as they pass through you, you're going to start to notice that a lot of the thoughts that you have are not necessarily your own. They're either something you saw on social media, there's something you heard in a conversation, something you heard in a song, or something you may have saw on television. Most of our thoughts, if not probably half, are from somewhere else, you know? And that's the thing that's really hurting us the most. And when we realize these thoughts, we start these inner conflicts. And when we start the
Mm.
inner conflicts to fight what we're thinking, we're never going to get to a resolution. So my suggestion is as well, trying meditation. Meditation is a really good thing you do, because I do it sometimes. Because when I wake up in the morning, I don't touch my phone. I don't look at emails. I don't look at anything that has to do with my business at all. Like what he was just saying, as far as just praying, I pray for about 5 to 10 minutes. I thank God. I pray for my family. I pray for everything that I want to happen in the day. And I'm present in that moment. But also try your meditation minutes. Meditative beat online on YouTube or in another app, 528 hertz, which activates different frequencies and stimulates the brain's thought process. And it allows you to create a space, a place where you can dwell away from all the anxiety. But try 5 minutes. Don't go any more than that. If you have a busy mind like myself And I'm sure everyone else who's watching, we have busy minds. We constantly have things to do, but start with a 5-minute meditation movement. You don't have to close your eyes. Sit in a comfortable place away from any distracting noises and just let the beats take you. If the thoughts come, let them come. As you begin to listen, the thoughts, like I said a minute ago, are probably not your own. They're probably from another place. And let it happen. Don't fight it. That's when the conflict causes so much confusion. Let the music guide you. Let the beat flow through you, because we're a society that lives on music. Music is one of the ways we communicate, and music is another way you can actually activate different forms of elevated thinking. And that's one way I think you should try it. Don't let the thoughts fight you, and don't fight them at all. Let them flow and listen to a meditative beat for 5 minutes only. Then you work yourself up to 6 to 7 to 8, but 5 minutes just to see where you're at. And don't be angry with yourself. Let it flow, and everything else will happen. Don't try to control anything, because the more we try to control our thoughts, that's when the battle happens. And just be at ease. That's what I try.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful, because I have a process like that I've implemented. I go out, I ground, right? So I
Yes.
ground I go on the grass.
I
I
love
make
that.
sure that
Love
I make
Yeah.
sure that my skin is touching the ground,
Yes.
and I just allow the tension just to go
Yeah.
wherever it's gonna go, except for me, right? And so, and at the same time, so it's outside, and not everybody may have this opportunity, but
Exactly.
if you can, you do it. I let the sun hit me for a while I just allow my thoughts just to be,
Yes.
just to
Yes.
be. And so I love that you bring up the struggle, because there's a lot of struggle. And I have posed the question: are you letting your thoughts flow, or are you battling? Right.
Right.
And
Right.
and there's a lot of people in battle mode.
It's
Right?
true.
There's a lot of
Constantly.
look down in Jamaica, right? And I'm praying for
Yeah.
them for a safe passage. Yeah. I'm a meteorologist, so I know the dynamics, the actual physical dynamics of the storm
Right.
compared to the land. I'm not gonna say what I thought after I reviewed the charts, but I'm still praying for them.
Yeah.
That's just one aspect of our life, natural,
True.
the nature,
Nature.
hurricanes, storms,
Yes.
and people, this is something that causes a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of mental battles.
It does.
And so for those out there in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean, because this thing ain't done, the Yucatan is next and all that.
Right.
I pray for your
It's our prayer
safety,
for you. God
right?
bless.
Your safety. But so there's a lot. And so I love that you mentioned that piece of just finding that moment, 5 minutes.
Yes.
Folks, 5 minutes, when
It's a
you
lot.
have to commit to it,
Yes.
it becomes a lot. And
Yes.
you're like, whoa, hold up. I did not know that 5 minutes could be so
It can
done.
save your life. It can literally save your life. 5 minutes of content. Because you think about it, we go to work, we have relationships, we have friends, and we give them at least 5 minutes or more of our time.
Mhm.
But we don't give 5 minutes to ourselves. When are we spending more time to be more introspective and dig deeper into the mind and the soul? Because if we don't invest in our soul, we don't have enough energy to give back to the world. We're just going on an empty tank that's probably depleted. When you look at the tank of your car, you're like, oh, my car can go a little longer. I got like 2 more minutes before I get to that gas station. You just scraping like, you hear that sound. Like, that's us. Like, come on, give yourself 5 more minutes. And 5 minutes, I'm telling you, will save your life, because it saved my life. It helped me to see myself in a better place. And you can see the other part of you, because a lot of times in your mind, like I was saying, there are other thoughts that are not even your own. I'm telling you, it's in your mind. Like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's somebody else who said that last week. Like, really?
It's in the air, man.
Yeah.
It's coming through the air like, whoa.
It's catching it like,
you're a receptor. All right, folks. So 5 minutes. Give yourself 5 minutes in favor of your wellness, mental, your spiritual. You have to address those if you aim to be, especially if you're a leader. If you're a leader, I'm telling you right now, if you're a leader and you're not taking at least 5 minutes for yourself, what you're doing is you are catastrophically impacting the future of your leadership.
It's true.
And not only that, you are showing others that taking care of yourself really doesn't matter. And so, just be careful, because as a leader, you exemplify a lot of things, even when you think you're not responsible for it.
Very true.
So just consider that. All right. So Jesse, let's talk about physical, right? Physical. Oh, McDonald's is having its way. We'll talk about
your way. That's it. Have it your way. That's it.
Yeah, we'll talk about nutrition, but the physical, taking care of this one body. Yeah, I'm 50, gonna be 53 here on the 18th.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. Lord willing, right? Lord willing, because he got to count every day. But I have come from a military background where physical fitness is top. You have to do it, or you risk of getting booted.
That's true,
right? Just for physical fitness. When you are not of that upbringing, let's say, that environment, it's tough to dedicate, or at least, let me tell you this, it's not tough to, because I'll tell you, it seems like it's harder to dedicate. If you can't take 5 minutes for your mind, how you gonna take 5 hours, right?
For your body.
Right. So what do you suggest for those that are wanting to, that you get stand in front of the mirror, if you need it or not, but are struggling with taking that time to devote to physical fitness, and what is that?
So physical fitness is the art of moving the body into a form that's going to be more beneficial for you. So physical fitness could be running, jogging, dancing, swimming, paragliding. Any form of movement is a form of physical fitness if it's consistent, or it could be intense or low intensity. But if you're trying to build some level of strength in your body or lose weight, you should always have a routine and have a plan and have a goal in mind and have checks during that fitness routine that you create. If you're trying to, let's say, get your abs ready, you should always consult a coach or look at some guides online, research what you're trying to do, and always add variety in your routines. In the beginning, sometimes you can fall in love with just doing one thing. I'm just falling in love with doing sit-ups. I'm going to do sit-ups every day, which is okay. But you want to add some jumping jacks. You want to add forms of full body movements. And two, make sure you're writing down your progress, taking notes so you know exactly what you did and what you didn't do. And you want to see what is your rate of slowing down. As far as, for example, okay, you do 30 push-ups. So when you reach 31, you're done. You can't do any more. So now you know that's my cutoff point when I add in this routine. So now my goal is to strengthen myself so I can do 31. And then once you reach 31, you want to bring yourself back. So you want to build yourself up and then break yourself down. Build yourself up and break yourself down. But always write down your progress and have a routine in order for your fitness. Sometimes if you go to the gym, we can fall in love, just use one machine and that's it. I'm just going to do this machine or that one, which is nice because that's what you're comfortable with. But you want to try variety and you want to research what you're trying to do. Always make sure you're taking time to be present within the workouts that you're doing and don't just speed through. Sometimes the best thing to do is to do it slow. You don't have to rush and do everything really fast. Doing it slow builds up your stamina, it builds up your resistance, and it builds up your mental strength for the workout. Because the more you begin to do something, your body begins to remember the muscle memory. And when it's doing the muscle memory, it adapts now. And once it adapts, then you can add more to that and build upon that level that you've already established. And once you already established that, now we jump into adding a new routine to go with that. And also monitoring your progress by writing it down, by researching what works for you, and keeping yourself consistent. Now, a lot of times you can't be consistent 7 days a week, 5 days a week. So think about it. I can only do right now 1 day a week. because I have children, because I have other demands in my life, different things, financial issues. I can do 1 day a week. I'm not going to do what I saw on Instagram where this guy did this wild, insane, amazing workout, or this woman did this wild, insane, amazing workout. I'm just going to follow my routine, because if you follow these workouts that you've never researched or tried, you can actually hurt yourself and set yourself back for a longer recovery, which can actually be very damaging and which can discourage you from actually going down the path of physical fitness. So stick to a useful routine that you can actually adjust to and build from as you go through your fitness journey.
That's very important to understand, folks,
Yeah.
that you need to know the limitations that you're currently working with,
Yeah.
but you also need to understand your potential,
Exactly.
because you could do some things that you thought that maybe you couldn't have.
Exactly.
But all within the because you want to be careful,
You
right?
do. You do.
I had my wife yoga almost all her time as
Yeah.
a young adult. She did one thing,
Yeah.
and there were her meniscus.
Wow. Wow.
So, you know, just because you've done it before doesn't mean
Yeah.
that at this current time
Yeah.
you can. And so you have to be very in tune with your body,
Mm-hmm.
but also you have to be deliberate.
You do.
And I go either by myself or I'll ask my son, and we go on 5-mile walks. I
Mm-hmm.
don't do less than 5 miles,
Right.
but my body can do that.
Exactly.
I'm sure that as I get older, 5 miles may be too much. But at this point, 5 miles is it. And
Mm-hmm.
before, and we were just talking halfway, and I said, "Whoa, we've been talking and discussing,
That's the
and we're
best part.
halfway."
That's the best part. Having a buddy really helps you. When you have somebody you could talk to, like, yo, I saw that game last week. Did you see that? Or, oh yeah, I bought that new outfit. Those type of conversation keeps fitness going. I think group fitness is really helpful for a lot of beginners, because when you're in a group, you're not thinking about what you're doing. A lot of times you're watching what the other person is doing, who may be more proficient or an expert at the particular work that they're doing. You can adjust based on that, and you can start talking to them. I find that when we're able to talk, like what he was just saying, that actually helps the workout go by so much faster, because you don't always think about what you're doing. When we think about what we're doing, we always wonder, am I doing this good? Am I using the proper form, the proper technique? Do I look good? Are people watching me? But in a conversation, you're laughing, your dopamine levels go up, you begin to feel a sense of well-being, and it's teamwork. Teamwork building workouts are one of the best ways to stay fit, because you guys can depend on each other, you can rely on each other, and you can check each other's form and hold each other accountable. Accountability is one of the hardest things to do in fitness when you're starting, or if you've just been a seasoned veteran, because sometimes you think you know what you know because you've been doing it for a long time, or you're a beginner, like, oh, I'm just going to try this and this is good enough. But having a buddy that's consistent with you, whether it be online, on the phone, somebody you could text, someone you could FaceTime, is really helpful. Even if you can't have that person next to you, having someone FaceTime you or send you a text message is really good. Yes, you need accountability partners sometimes. It's good to have one. Some people don't always have that. Accountability partner can be a coach, it can be your neighbor, or it could be a gym coach, or it can just be someone who passes by you and say, hey, good job. That's accountability just in itself. You're doing a great job over there. Just someone saying hello to you while you're in the process of fitness can really encourage you. And if you can't have them there, like I said, you can have them online, FaceTime you on your phone. That's perfect. Just having that person to encourage you, engage with you, to build up your self-esteem, it really helps. Because when we're working out for the first time, our self-esteem may not be as high. And when it's not as high, we may not do as much. But if we have the right amount of encouragement, we'll find that our potential is limitless, that we can outlast anything, because our bodies and our minds can take anything. If you look at history, we're born to create. We're born to face challenges. We're born to endeavor beyond our greatest dreams and pursue things that are beyond our greatest heights. We can accomplish anything when we have the belief system. Fitness is all about believing. If you can believe it and see it too, you want to visualize yourself getting fit mentally. And if you believe that, your belief will be a cascading wind that shatters the entire spectrum of negativity. You will find a way to accentuate higher levels of power because that's what you are. You're created to be great. So remember that. Yes, you have belief systems to win. A belief system is something that makes everyone else believe. A belief system becomes magnetic. A belief system becomes something like you wear. I got cologne on, like, oh, this guy believes. He smells great. Oh, he believes or she believes. When you believe, everything else becomes easy over time. It won't always be easy, but that belief will take you to the next level because you know, I believe I'll lose that weight. I believe I'll get those abs. I believe I'll lose diabetes. I believe I'll lower my blood pressure. I believe. And if I believe, I'm going to take all the steps, not one, but every single step to get to that level of supreme personality, supreme physicality, and supreme mental dominance that I want during my physical fitness routines.
Yes, absolutely. So true.
All the steps. Not
Yeah, and when you talk about belief system, it starts with you, folks.
yes,
That belief has to generate from you first.
yes,
You have to believe that you can. You have to believe that it's worth it. You
yes.
have to believe that, hey, at the end, I'm going to get what I am aiming.
Mm-hmm.
However, that that trajectory or how long that trajectory may be, that
Yes.
may be different. But
Mm-hmm.
you still have to put the chips on you. That's why I have to put the chips on you, and
Yeah.
then give it a try,
Yeah.
so you can get onto this physical fitness portion of your life
Right.
and extend your ability to impact the world, impact
Yeah.
your community,
We need you.
impact your home.
We need you.
Right?
We do. We do
Yeah,
need you.
perfectly stated. We need you, and that this is the way of making sure that we have you. Uh,
Yes.
so I threw McDonald's out there. I ain't gonna lie. I'll grab a burger every once in a while. You know, um,
You
uh,
know.
but food
Mm-hmm.
is something, nutrition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is something that sometimes, because of the busyness of life, we let go to the wayside, right? It's
Yes.
so much easier. You
Mm-hmm.
look at your watch. Oh my goodness, it's 1:30. I haven't eaten. I'm driving. Okay, where do I pull in?
Exactly. That's the
Where do
hardest
I?
thing.
Oh, where do I pull in? Is it this one? Is it that? And that decision making has us in a very bad physical, like, food nutrition spiral.
Yeah. Yeah.
That fast food, convenient food, I have it in my head now to the point that when I go in the grocery store, if
Mm-hmm.
I don't spend my time on the outer aisles
Right. Right.
more than I do in the inner, I know I'm messing up.
True. That's the most important part. The outer aisles is where you find all the healthy food, the fruits and the vegetables. When you go into the inner aisles, where you find the snack foods, because it's designed that way to keep you motivated and stimulated on certain snacks, on certain products, because these snacks are a way of keeping you at a low center of vibration. If you're at a low center of vibration, you're going to be constantly looking for these snacks because these snacks, they taste good. They are designed to taste good. They are designed to fill you with low levels of dopamine, which has short levels of happiness. If you're getting short levels of happiness, that's what you're going to stick to because you want short-term highs. But the low term of that is when you're coming down from that short-term high from eating those tater chips, from eating those boxed foods, from eating those cookies. There's nothing wrong with eating these things, but if you anything in excess will leave you in a mess, which means if you're eating these particular foods, it's going to disrupt your entire body. It's going to disrupt the gut. And the gut is the second brain. The gut is where your immune system is. It sends signals to the brain back and forth. The gut is where your immune system is. If you're eating foods that make you feel like you're being full, but they're actually expanding your gut, you're going to keep consuming because you don't feel that you're full yet. So thinking about your nutrition, stay with vegetables, stay with fruit, but make sure you're cleaning them properly. You can even use baking soda. You can use apple cider vinegar. If depending, if you're a diabetic, you may not want to use apple cider vinegar. So you probably can just stick with baking soda. But if you don't have those things due to financial constraints, where do you spend your time? The grocery store. If you're going to spend your time in the grocery store, go to the fruit section, go to the vegetable section, get your vegetables, and then you want to go to your meat aisle. Now, snacks are snacks. They're not the main course. So that should probably be maybe 2% of what's going to go inside of your shopping cart. That's for just moments of pleasure when you want to enjoy yourself with your family and friends. Those things become emotional. When we're eating too many snacks, those are emotional draws. We're drawing on those because they have short-term highs. But spend your time in the section where the green vegetables are. Follow the rainbow, as they always say. You want to get your apples, your carrots, get your kale, get your broccoli, get your Brussels sprouts. Those type of things will help you reach your optimal health. Because you have optimal health, you're able to fight off different diseases. You're able to live a better life. Other things will distract you when you go into the supermarket, but think about it. Make a list as well. If you're going to shop, whether it be for yourself or for your family, make a list of everything you want to make so you don't deviate from that list. When you go into the supermarket, you're going to go into the vegetable aisle first. Okay, so I want to make some soups. I want to make salads. I want to make very condensed salads, not just adding, we'll just say kale and then add some dressing and eat that and I'm okay. No, you want to make sure it's nutrient dense. You want to add your kale in there. You want to add some carrots in there. You want to add some tomatoes in there. You want to add different things. Variety adds to the condensing, because a lot of times people will eat salads and like, I'm still hungry. I know, because we didn't really spend time investigating what I should put into the salad. And always look at the date. When you're buying certain things in any part of the supermarket, look at the dates. A lot of supermarkets, they put things in there that are actually old, the old stuff in the front and the new stuff in the back. So you want to be careful. That can really affect your health negatively, because remember, the food affects your emotions. So if you're eating food that hasn't been properly taken care of, it's going to affect your decision making for the entire week. So spend more time around your vegetables and then work yourself to the meat aisle and look at the dates. Make sure you're checking how the food actually looks and how it's being packaged. You have to make sure that you're investigating. We have to be investigators. Sad to say that we have to be investigators. We have to do our research and stick to what's on the grocery list. Don't deviate from that. Remember, your mind and your body belong with you. It's your temple. Be sure to look at the things that you're putting on your plate, because it's going to decide the outcome of your entire week, and it may decide the outcome for your entire family. So be well and think about those type of things. Always stick to something that's going to give you life. And when you look at these other things inside the middle of the aisle, they usually have no life. Eating foods that have plenty of life, that have plenty of vitamins, that have plenty of nutrients, that's where you need to go first. Remember, snacks are a pleasurable thing, but it's not something that's a necessity. It's never a necessity, but it's fun to have, because sometimes I eat snacks myself. But you have to think about what goes on your plate. Should have plenty of life, should be nutrient dense, and should have vitamins and everything else that you need. It should be essential for your optimal well-being, not just because it tastes good and not just because it looks good in a box. Remember that when it goes in your body, it's going to shape how you feel and how you think. And it may have a negative or a positive effect on your health going on for the next 5 to 10, 15 years. Everything is accumulative, so it accumulates. Over time, what you eat can affect you in a positive way or a negative way. So think about those particular things when you enter into the supermarket, and you'll be much better when you're thinking about it.
Absolutely. Look, it's something that I'm more and more conscious of as you,
Yeah,
and I think as you age, these things start to become more
yeah,
important.
yeah.
But that's because you come head on with your mortality,
But
right?
I
You're
did
like,
that. I did it already. I ate that. I drank that. You did everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you mentioned something that we have done in our home for quite some time, and I'll give credit to my daughter because she's the one that brought it in.
mm,
I went to Sam's Club. We bought this big old bag of baking soda,
yeah,
huge.
yeah, yeah.
There's no fruit that doesn't get washed, and I'm gonna tell you why. My
Exactly.
daughter did this one time, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, I've been eating all these things because I just kind of like wash it over,
Right, right, right,
water." And
right,
so what we do is we put all the fruit of one kind in a big old bowl,
right.
some water and some baking soda, and we
Yeah,
just we wash it, and
yeah.
then we let that sit there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
There's been bugs.
Yeah.
There's been something
Yeah, you see like
swimming
a
in the
foam,
water,
like a white foam
right?
around it sometimes. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, all the things, the pesticides, everything, it just comes out in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, that water is black like
Yes,
dirt.
yes,
Like
yeah.
They say they wash it, but they ain't wash that thing. But
No,
anyway,
no.
when we take those things out and rinse them out good, the taste is out of this world.
Yes.
I have never tasted cherries or grapes or that we wash. The taste is so much more potent,
Yes, it's brilliant.
right? And
So,
so we do it. That's what we do. And if you guys that are listening or viewing, you don't wash your fruit, that try it once and you'll never stop
yes.
watching it.
You're gonna say thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing.
Because I could not believe the things that were coming out in that water. I was like,
Yeah,
holy moly. So nutrition is important, folks. You got to have that in a way where you're not like overly obsessed with it, that you
yeah,
just can't
yeah.
eat nothing, but that you take care. If you can do that, buy a bag of baking soda. It's it'll
Mhm.
cost you one time that big old bag.
Yes, it'll save your life.
But then after a while, you're like, holy moly, I did not know. I
Yeah,
did not know. And so that's why we're talking it, right?
exactly.
So let's move on to the fourth piece there, which is soul.
Mhm.
Now, your soul, everybody has a way of addressing the soul need of a human.
Mhm.
I prefer the God relationship for
Yeah,
my soul.
yeah,
So there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of praying, there's a lot of conversation,
yes,
there's a lot of feeling. So we were talking about those thoughts that just come out of nowhere.
yes, yes.
If it ain't godly, I'm smacking that thing down
Yeah.
like Shaq.
Get out of here. We're good.
And
Like, we're
because
good.
because part of my soul care
Yeah.
is the ownership of the things that I allow to be around and to come in.
Yes.
And because we were talking about how we receive things,
Hmm.
and if you're not careful in the soul environment,
Mm.
you will be receiving at will, and that
Yes.
is a dangerous thing.
Completely. So destructive.
So
So,
let's talk about soul, taking care of the soul,
mhm.
in terms of who we are.
Okay. When we're talking about taking care of the soul, it turns into an internal thing because the soul is infinite, as we know. Soul has plenty of energy, and the soul is about our personality, is our real personality. It's not the personality that we show to each other outside when we're hanging out with our friends. It's the thing that we look at when we're feeling either high or low. It is an energy force that comes straight through us. And people can see the soul because the eyes are the gateway to the soul. So when you're looking into someone's eyes, you can see what's in their soul, whether they're battling with their soul or they're in contentment with their soul. They're content and they're at peace. The soul is something that can transform your entire outlook on everything in your world. It is the one only thing that you truly have power over that dictates everything else in your reality. The soul was given to us, like he was talking about with God. I have a connection with God, and I believe in the soul being a part of that. So the soul is connected to God. A lot of times we're separating from our soul when we do things that go against it. And that's when the intuition comes in. The intuition is the soul's friend. The intuition is telling you certain things that you should not do. You should think about this. You should not try that. Don't jump into that pool. Don't take that drink. Don't say that to that person. Be more mindful of what you're doing. The soul and intuition work together in a relationship. And then another thing as well is your consciousness also connects with the soul, and it connects with intuition. It connects with the Kundalini energy. That's another form of energy. That's something that rises from the base, from the root, and it rises all the way up to the top of your head. That's another form of spiritual awakening. The soul and that brings another power that is more brilliant than what we think about. When our soul becomes out of balance, we begin to do things we don't want to do. We begin to become people pleasers. We begin to say yes too much. We begin not to be centered in the soul. The soul will always guide you to your guiding light, but it's hard sometimes to connect with the soul due to outside influences. A technique I think which is really good is focusing on the inside, which is another thing I would suggest is this, something that I do. Go to a mirror, whether it be your bathroom or your kitchen or inside your closet, wherever you have a mirror, and sit there and look into your eyes. And I want you to stand there for 5 to 10 minutes. And I want you to look into your eyes. You're going to see your soul. But as you sit there quietly, intently, and focused, you're going to see an image. The image may be distorted on one side and may be brilliant on the other. So you're going to see what the soul may be trying to hide from you, because the soul is trying to see if you're ready to see the truth within self. If we are learning to accept ourselves, we have to look at it. So when you're looking at it in the mirror, you're going to get distorted imagery, and you may become even emotional during this time, because the soul is trying to see if you're ready to be revealed, which means if you're ready to be revealed, you're going to see all your scars, you're going to see all your damages, and you may even see some of the childhood issues that are lying in wait inside of the soul. And as you're looking, everything becomes distorted. It becomes like you're spinning. Your eyes begin to become more amplified, and you become more zeroed in and focused. And you're going to see an older face and a younger face. And you can ask yourself a question, whatever question you want. I asked myself this question because I'm talking to myself. I said, what have I done to you? And it tells me certain things. And I asked it as well, have I hurt you? And another thing is, what can I do for you? So these are questions you can ask, or you can make up your own questions. And I promise you that the soul will tell you. It may not say it in words. It may say it in emotions. The soul will talk to you, because now you're actively activating your soul, and you're letting it be aware that you're aware of its presence. You're no longer running away anymore. You're aware. You have tunnel vision. It's just you and your soul. Because remember, you and your soul are together for the rest of your life. So when you're sitting there looking in that mirror, asking it questions, it's going to try to get you to look away, man. Mind you. You can blink if you want, but I want you to stay focused and dedicated to getting an understanding with your soul. But I recommend you try this technique at least once or twice a week. And you're going to see changes, because you're going to learn about what's inside of this force of energy that's inside of the soul. What is the beating energy, and how have I been taking care of it? It's going to tell you how you've been taking care of it, because usually in the soul is your inner child. That's that energy, that imagination, that creativity, that other thing that's allowed to do things you've never even dreamed. And when you look in that mirror and focus intently, you begin to see those things, and it's going to change your outlook, and you're going to be able to walk through this life standing firm, rooted, and more confident to face all dangers. So I believe the soul is that one defining force that can't be dominated by anything in this reality or the next. That's the thing that connects us with God. Whomever you call that, it connects. Or if there's many gods, it connects you with that. That is the most dominant force in the world, the soul. You see it in your eyes, and spend time investigating it through your eyes. And if you're blind and you cannot see, then I want you to close your eyes and imagine the soul. Use your mind's eye. That is the other eye right here. Use your mind's eye and connect with the soul. Deconstruct everything inside of that soul and ask it questions, and it will answer you because it's yours. It wants to talk to you. A lot of times we're afraid to talk to ourselves because we don't want to hear the truth of soul. But spend time alone investigating the soul in the mirror with yourself, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, for as long as you can do it. But don't be afraid. Face that soul energy, and it will activate another spark inside of you.
Yeah, the soul is a true anchor. You know, if you've ever done something and you say, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Why would you
Right.
be
That's the soul.
asking
It's saying
yourself,
something.
right? Why would you be asking yourself something when you're already doing it?
Right.
That's
so true.
your inside saying, you need help.
Yeah.
What's going on here? And it tries to right size us. It tries to keep us on a path where we do not infringe upon ourselves. We do not damage or hurt ourselves. And that soul is an anchor. And you could either listen to it or not, or you can abuse it or not. And some people are abusing their soul to the point where they're imprisoning themselves.
Yes.
You know, and so you have to be careful to address, and we've been talking about the total leadership fitness. And the reason why
Mhm.
it's titled this is because leaders need to address wellness. They
Mhm.
need to address the physical, the body, how you keeping this temple you mentioned earlier, your nutrition, what are
Mhm.
you feeding it, and
Mhm.
how are you addressing the inner need.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you something, I have seen several versions of leaders.
Mhm.
A leader that has their soul in check
Yes.
and they're established,
Yep.
almost immovable.
Yes.
Nothing can set this person off
Mhm.
track.
True.
And although there may be times where challenges are, more than other times,
Mhm.
they are like steady.
Yes.
And you're like, man,
Mhm.
when you come to find out, is that they are more in tune with their inner self
Yes.
and less apt to be how you call it, responding to everything.
Right. Every
You know,
noise, every shape. Yeah.
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 And so it's a wonderful thing to see a leader that has this portion of their life in check and established, because it does permeate to the others,
It's
right?
true. Very
When
true.
you're in tune with your soul, you won't abuse your body.
Yep.
You won't make some decisions that be like, hey, look, I'm Puerto Rican and we eat the smack out of pork, right? The pigs got no hope in Puerto Rico. but
Right.
but we understand
Yeah.
that partaking in that particular type of meat is
Yeah.
not healthy
Right.
whatsoever,
Right.
right? There are
Right.
some nations that they're like, what? Are
Mhm.
you crazy?
We
Don't
don't do
even
that.
let us see it,
Yeah, they don't do
right?
that at all.
Yeah, at all.
The American diet is totally different.
And you can see the physical difference.
Yes. Yes.
How
Yes.
many of them are suffering from heart attacks and
Not many.
high blood pressure and clogged arteries and not many.
Right.
I mean, they're eating olives, they eating fig, they eating all these other things that are like natural.
Plenty of fruits and vegetables, and they're getting fresh air, and they're not eating processed food as much because they don't always have access to that. And plus,
Right.
the cultural differences are different as well. In
Yeah.
America, we have so many different cultures, and it's hard to meet everyone's dietary restrictions or dietary needs. And so we're always trying different things, and that can be helpful and detrimental if we don't use enough conscious restrictions in our own mind to say, I've had enough. I don't have to overconsume because I've had a hard day or I've had a hard life. These things can actually hurt you. Don't let yourself emotionally eat. I've been there myself. I used to weigh
Mhm.
350 pounds, so I know about emotional eating. So we can't always emotionally eat because it will damage your psyche and allow you to go all the way back to where you never wanted to be. Believe in that you can be good and that you'll be full. Don't eat too fast either. Spend more time enjoying the meals. Enjoy, eat slow, enjoy. Don't rush. We rush so much in America. Don't rush. Be here, eat, talk, and enjoy. And you will find that you can do so much more when you're actively doing those things and not being pressured because you're not enjoying it. You're looking for the next. Be right here. Enjoy this moment before the next. Because if you go to the next, you just missed a key important step of enjoyment. And that's why you're constantly trying to look for more enjoyment because you haven't even satisfied the first need. So I agree with you completely. Just
Yeah,
want to,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
You're right. You're right in all of that. So, folks, we have come to the end
yes,
of this conversation with Jesse. Thank you so much, brother, for jumping on
you,
and sharing your wisdom over these four topics. The total health and fitness of leaders. You have to make it an important part of your decision making, folks, if
yes,
you want to be able to lead. Right? Leadership happens after this.
yes,
And if this ain't right, leadership ain't gonna be right. I'll tell you right now,
it's true.
because you either won't be there to lead, or you're setting a bad example and you're not leading, thinking that you are, right? So take care of that, folks. And we just want to remind everybody as we come to a close that we are looking for 700 subscribers on DTLW Podcast YouTube channel. We are about 30 shy, I believe, of 700. So if you can help us by going on to at DTLW Podcast on YouTube, we would greatly appreciate it. It is not just a number. What happens every time we meet 100 milestone, I have had guests on the show that are authors, and they have so graciously hand authored or signatured every book that they have written. They sent it to me, and I give them out every time we get another 100. So what happens is I look at the last subscribers, I put them in a pool, I select one, and they get the book. So it's a win-win, right, for all of us when you do that. So thank you. If you will subscribe, and please consider if you haven't. Another thing is that we are streaming live on Parade Deck. Parade Deck is a platform where they stream shows, military first responders, military spouses. They have podcasts and live shows. They stream it on that platform. So if you've never heard of Parade Deck, go to paradedeck.com and check them out. A lot of great creators on that platform, and they're streaming us live. So thank you for that, folks. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Jesse, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And folks, we'll see each other on our next live session. It'll be Friday, Aloha Friday Live. And so God bless you all. Jamaica, we are praying for you and all the people in Caribbean. We love you. Be safe and take care.